So as of recent, there's been many revelations that have come out that Joe Rogan has used the N-word repeatedly in the past. In spite of that, Spotify refuses to drop the show. Now, we recently spoke about the whole Joe Rogan situation and, cancel culture and all of that stuff. But with this particularly, what are your thoughts?
All right, so we're reading this article here. It talks about singer-songwriter India Ari, who I do like her music, by the way. I've actually listened to her. I have not really, I'm sure I've heard Neil Young before in my life, or Joni Mitchell, but I really couldn't name you a song of theirs. India Ari, a lot of people haven't listened to her, but I listen to R&B and neo soul and stuff, so I have listened to her. I like her music, but she posted something on Instagram saying that she wanted to drop her music from Spotify, not because of vaccine talk, but because Joe Rogan has used the N-word in the past on his show. I know you'll get a lot of different answers from a lot of different people on this. I think it's important that you get different answers from different people, because Black people and no people on Earth are entirely monolithic.
Yeah, that's true.
In the United States, you will find a large percentage of Black people being monolithic in a lot of things. Unfortunately, I still trying to figure out why on that. But for this one, I've said it before in the past. Specifically, me as a Christian, that is my first identity and that's my first family.
Right.
So if I on earth look at another ethnicity and say that only this ethnicity can use this word, that means I've put my primary identity in my ethnicity versus my primary identity in God, in Christ.
That's good, man.
So when people, especially Christians, do that, if you're listening to this and you're you're a Christian, and let's say you're a Black Christian, and you think it's okay that only people who have the same skin tone as you can say certain words, I would challenge that thoroughly. That is not biblical.
100%.
For people who do not follow Christ and are looking on the inside, that might make sense to them because a lot of people place their identity in a lot of different things, and they would see nothing really wrong with somebody putting their primary identity in their ethnicity, even if it meant they're discriminatory towards other people.
That's right.
So that when you look at that logically, that doesn't make sense to me, because you'd be against discrimination of that person, saying that if I walk into a restaurant and I'm Black and they're like, hey, you can't sit down here, you'd be against that
right,
based on discrimination. But if you're Indian and you say the N-word and you're discriminated because Indians can't say the N-word, like it's not consistent.
Right.
So look, if somebody's using a word to be malicious in any context towards any person, I think that's wrong. But in terms of using it casually as to say dude or man or friend or whatever, like why would I give a word that much power? I just can't. I don't sit up at night and if somebody calls me the N-word, I really wouldn't think twice about it. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, especially our older audience, may feel differently, and I respect that. I think that they have had the N-word used against them in a malicious way, so it might bring up other memories. But I still, after you get through the memories and the emotion, I am not excusing the emotion. I'm just saying, what's the core foundation of your argument?
Right.
If the core foundation of your argument is still off, then your emotions are not invalid, but you need to recognize where they come from and then be consistent with your logic and emotions together.
That's right.
God gave you both of them, so use them together. So look, I really don't feel two ways about it. Like I said before, I don't personally use it. I know that you can't go through a lot of stand-up comedy specials. I think they mentioned in this article about Richard Pryor, Red Fox, You can name probably 80, 90, 95% of black comedians of, their comedy special is just ridden with it. So if you're really that offended by it, you can't be all that offended by it if you hear it every 5 seconds in a comedy special. So look, man, people like to be pissed off about stuff. This is something that, they can be pissed off about if they want to. Mm-hmm. For the consequences of this, they say Spotify CEO Daniel Ek has responded to it, and he says, he does not believe silencing Joe Rogan is the answer here. So Joe Rogan has a bunch of targets on his back. I honestly think deleting the episodes was the wrong move. Mm-hmm. I know people.
I'm with you on that, by the way.
Yeah, I think that there is no such thing as apologizing to the mob.
Right.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
If once you start to do it, there's just more demand of you, and it's again. I say this very firmly. Usually this is from people who do not hold any positions of power in their life. Yeah. And this is for good reason that they don't hold positions of power, because as soon as they get it, this is the type of stuff they do with it.
Yes.
They want to find something from 5 to 10 years ago about something you said, and then they want to use anything in your past, even if you change, if you've changed from something. And for the record, people on both sides of the political argument do this. Even if you've changed, then they just want to keep bringing up something you did in the past. Now, look, if you have a criminal offense or something and you need to be in prison, then you need to be in prison and serve your sentence.
Right.
If you come out of prison and you're changed, like, why am I going to keep bringing up to this dude that he did something and no, he changed his life and he's sorry about it? And why would you do that to somebody? Like, what? That's the type of person you are currently, that you need to keep bringing up somebody else's past of like every single time they do something. And I wouldn't have the energy to do that. Like you have nothing better to do with your life than do that and search through hours and hours of previous videos and you're going to make a compilation. You know how long it takes somebody to make a compilation and search through hours and hours and hours of videos?
Bro, like what type of time do you have on your hands to do that?
Like, that is pathetic.
Jeez.
There is no other word than absolutely pathetic to do that.
Rightfully so.
Imagine somebody walking all the podcasts of this and trying to find anything I said that they disagreed with, and then they make a video out of it. Like, there's honestly no other word but like loser. That is what you're being. You don't have to be that.
No.
You don't have to label yourself that forever, but that is what you are being in that moment.
Right.
Find something to do with find something productive to do with your time. If you sincerely think that Joe Rogan or any of his guests were wrong about vaccines, find research papers that prove him wrong. Like actually look at the data and see if they're wrong or right. I think that if you do look at a lot of things that Robert Malone says, Dr. Robert Malone, you'll find that he's pretty accurate in a lot of the things that he's saying, but people are just so emotional about it that they want to twist anything and misconstrue anything that you say. So look, comments were kind of spicy the last video about this, so feel free to make them spicy again. If you think that we are wrong, if you think that I'm somehow, get crazy stuff on this, you're denying your race if you don't think that white people shouldn't say the N-word, you're a coon, you're this, you're that, you're a sellout. Okay, sure. So explain to me logically how that is true in the comments.
Yes.
Feel free to drop them. We should have a good discussion.
Let's get it.